Hi there. Today I wanted to talk about something that I think is probably one of the most critical areas in network marketing and building an organization. Really, it's one main point today, and that's follow up and follow through. We can think about follow through in a lot of different ways and following up in a lot of different ways, but it's truly the essence of being able to build an exciting, vibrant, duplicatable organization. I want to make a point of reference in following through and following up the way we do almost with children. For those of you that are parents, you know that if you tell one of your children something or they do something and you want to teach them as a result of that experience, that you need to follow through and follow up with what either the consequences were or what the outcome was supposed to be. And so following through is really a big part of teaching. It's a big part of encouraging people to really discover from whatever that point of reference was to begin with. So when we look at the industry of network marketing and you look at you wanting to build a large organization, the first part of any process is opening the door to see if people are interested in what it is that you have to say, to see if they're interested in the changes that have occurred in your life and how that might be able to serve them, what's going on with them in their life. So while step one is opening the door and initiating contact and seeing if there's interest there, seeing if there's needs that might be able to be filled with your products, your services, the business opportunity, that's step one. Step two is following up with them. Once they've looked at the information, do they have questions? What is it that speaks to them? Who are the people that they think of as they're learning about your company, your products, your services? And it's really an interesting dynamic. I have met with people and coached people who have phoned 100 people. They've made that initiating contact, that first point of interest with 100 people, and then they don't follow up with them. And part of the reason that they don't follow up with them is because it's in the follow-up that they're going to hear a yes or a no. And so when we look at procrastination around following up, a big part of the reason that people procrastinate is because they're not sure they want to hear the answer. And so it comes back to being a little bit fearful of somebody saying no. And I really think that if we can use a frame of reference around what it is that you're offering in the field of network marketing, when you're offering somebody the gift of the company, think of yourself almost as a server. If you were in a restaurant and you were serving ice water to people, there's some people who aren't thirsty. And when you say, would you like some water? They say no. Midway through the meal, they might get thirsty. They're eating something that triggers thirst for them. So a half hour later, when you follow up and invite them to have a glass of water, this time they might say yes. But either way, the server is completely detached from the outcome. You don't see somebody in a restaurant offering somebody a cup of coffee or a glass of water or a refill on their drink and then feeling rejected and disappointed if that person says, no, thank you, I'm good. And so I think that if we can apply that same detachment from the outcome when we are following up with people, then we might be more inclined to follow up. Because really, the essence of following up and following through is just finding out what they're interested in, finding out if they have additional questions, finding out if there's people that have come to their mind that might benefit from what it is that you've shared with them, and guiding them through this process of information. Opening the door is really just the very, very first step, and there's multiple steps after that, but every single one of those steps, even once you've enrolled them on your team, is about following up and following through. And using your own judgment and your own discernment on how often that follow-up should be. It's different for different people. So feel free to ask somebody, would it be okay if I followed up with you in 3 days? Do you need a week before you hear back from me? What's your schedule like in the next 48 hours? Do you think it'd be too soon if I gave you a call on Thursday? These are the types of questions that you want to ask so that you're gaining permission from your potential new teammate, but you're also setting in stone that part of what your process is following up and following through. So I really encourage you, one of the basic guidelines that I've taught for a long, long time is that if you have somebody who's actively, eagerly engaged in that process, they've shown interest, definitely be in touch with them within every 72-hour period. Now, if you're in touch with them for 5 72-hour periods in a row and it starts feeling a little bit awkward, just take a step back, ask them a question. I thought that we were going to be able to move through this process relatively quickly. It looks like there's something going on in your life that maybe we need to take a step back and reevaluate. Is this really a good time? Or should we wait until next week? Because it really doesn't serve you or me if we let this drag out for a year. At the end of the day, it all comes down to opening your heart and your mouth at the same time. You're just guiding them through, navigating them through a process and finding out how they are, what they feel, where they are, and what you need to do with and for them along the way. So just remember, you will never break through unless you follow through. Thanks, everyone.